Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us. James out west, Pat the Stat Guy, Aaron on the other side of the glass on this Monday, the 29th of January, 2024, in studio. Real quick, to kind of, before we dive into the Niners talk, Detroit obviously being up 17 at half. Detroit ran very well against San Francisco. They had 182 yards. Dave Montgomery with 93. Gibbs had 45. Williams had that one run of 42. San Francisco obviously put up 150. CMC had 90 yards. It was, there was a lot of spectacular plays in this game, specifically some catches. Mm-hmm. We have some stuff on Brandon Ayuik, of course.
Right.
But not just him. George Kittle, Justin Juszczyk, that catch from the fullback, Justin Juszczyk,
right,
on the sideline, he looked like a ballerina, like he was on his tippy toes.
Right, yeah.
Pirouette. What's up, pirouette?
Oh my God, yeah. There you go.
Yeah,
I think you're saying it
right. And then to get the first down, it's beautiful. It was a tremendous play. The amount of concentration, but for Brock Purdy to get out of the first place because he looked like he was going to get his head ripped off.
Right.
So
you see the Juszczyk, I don't know if it was a tweet or whatever. He said Brock Purdy somehow managed to find me on this play.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
They're all really leaning into the game manager stuff with Brock.
Well, yeah, did you hear Alex Smith's quote, right?
Yeah,
as the unofficial president of the game managers club, he's not allowed in.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to get into that. We'll get into that as we talk Super Bowl because they did win. We don't have to talk. It's really any other Lions stuff. We should finish that up. But
everybody's talked about them being too aggressive. Were they too aggressive? Was Dan Campbell too aggressive? In his post-game presser, he let the team know, hey, we may never make it here again. This might be our one chance.
Right.
He goes, do I believe it? No, I don't believe it. But it could be. I know this league. I've been around long enough to know that there are teams that never make it back.
Right. And I was, again, at a little watch party, I'll say, not as big as the one at Ford Field, 35K people at Ford Field watching that game. But, I was hanging out at my brother's place, and one of his buddies was talking about how Dan Campbell's going to be thinking about those play calls and those play decisions all offseason. And then when you listen to his post-game interviews, it sounds like he's very secure in the decisions he made and that he's not going to be losing any sleep this offseason. But, yeah, he's not wrong, right? It's tough to get back. No team is the same 2 years in a row. The one thing they do have going for them is they've made 3 great drafts in a row. So a lot of their stud players are on rookie contracts, right? But then again, the Packers are a young team. They're the youngest team in the NFL. It's a tough division to win. So he's right. They might not be back, and it will be harder, right? Because they're not going to surprise anybody next year. So
no, and they didn't really surprise anybody this year. Well, I think the surprise was that they lived up to the expectations. And they might have gone a game further than the expectations, other than inside the building.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah,
and Lions fans.
Yeah, they're not a sneaky team. They're not going to, Again, they played a heck of a first half. They just kind of, lost their roar in the second half.
We talk about, there was 2 4th downs that they went for instead of kicking field goals. One, you're not even sure you're going to make it. There's a chance that you don't make the field goal.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if they were to nitpick and go back, the play that they probably disagree with the most is running the ball on 3rd down with having to burn a timeout, and then they had to go for the onside kick, as opposed to either just throwing the ball or kicking a field goal. Then they can kick the ball off. You got 3 timeouts. You can get a stop and still have a chance. They eliminated that opportunity. I think that is the one play, because you know what? Like, yes, he's aggressive to be aggressive, and that's what they are. And not every 4th down is the same. And not every game is the same, the magnitude of it. Playing a little bit conservative, like you said in the break, hey, you're a conservative play caller, but being aggressive got them here. And so I understand that mindset. And as a fan, I'm not upset with it because he rode with it all year. And if that's what you do, that's what you do. So shout out for him for not breaking his morals. This is what we're going with.
Yeah.
And, they just fell a little short. The one guy, Reynolds had the ball. He just dropped it. He had the ball and he just dropped it. The right play call was there. It was schemed correctly. It was there. It was open. They would have got it. He dropped the ball.
You're right. That happened. Like we talked about it. We are going to talk missed opportunities, and those are some of them. A lot of drops. Jared Goff played a great game. I'm usually pretty critical on Jared Goff. He had just a couple, bad throws. Unfortunately, one was with a guy wide open in the end zone, and another one was on a 4th down. But besides that, he played a really, really good game. I was impressed by him. So, again, shout out to the Lions. Shout out to the Lions fans. I saw an Eminem sweatshirt that I want to buy, even though I'm not a Lions fan, and he's associating it with being a Lions fan. But it says "Mom's Spaghetti," Detroit, Michigan. Anyway, shout out to them. But let's preview this Super Bowl.
Well, and real quick here.
Okay, sorry.
Real quick here. Sorry. No, because we're going to talk about this Niners. Obviously, the Brandon Ayuik catch, being an ASU alum. The reason he said he went to ASU is because they're one of the only teams that said you can come here and play receiver.
Right.
And that was it. That was interesting to him, and that they scouted him. That's the reason.
I wonder
what
was he going to be before? Like he was he just
probably
an
been
athlete?
scouted as an athlete. That would be my guess. His tightrope on the sideline, that crazy bobbled INT into a huge gain down the 3-yard line. Yeah. After the game, dude said he had a ladybug show up on his shoe, so he knew God was with him.
Exactly.
And then to see him react to the top 10 on ESPN, him being number 2 and not number 1.
What? Yeah.
He was number 2. He's like, crazy. What? He's like, let me see who number 1 is. And it was Lamar Jackson, and he obviously cut the video real quick because he was some expletives. But it was really funny. What a character of a guy. And he's really coming into his own as a receiver in the league. You've always known about him, Pat. You've always, and people around here in Tempe's always known about him, but it's great to see him on the national level being known as the dude because they got Debo, they got Kittle. But when a play needs to be made, I gotta say, Ayuik might be the dude.
Well, yeah, his chemistry with another Arizona boy. I don't know. Ayuk's not from Arizona, is he? Either way, he went to ASU. But his connection with Purdy is amazing, right? So him and Purdy, that's kind of why his star is shining so bright right now with Ayuk because of that connection. But
and talk about connections. Trent Williams was asked after the game about what it means to have Brock Purdy back there, and he said he's the reason we're here and we're moving forward is because of him.
Right.
He is the reason of all of this.
And he's the reason this is officially Super Bowl talk. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we're now all right. So again, shout out to the Lions. But yeah. So again, Super Bowl preview. Right. This is a rematch of 2020. Right. San Francisco 49ers, Kansas City Chiefs. You've got the quote unquote system quarterback, versus the game changer, or the game manager versus the game changer. And yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
But yeah, back to Brock Purdy.
Listen, to average 10 yards a carry, and they're all in pivotal moments of the game. I mean, he damn near had as much as Lamar had on the ground, and he did that all in the second half. The young man just knows how to make plays. Right. And if Rooks was here, he'd tell you the same thing. They finally got their guy, and it looks like they could have a serious contender for a long period of time with their quarterback situation. He shouldn't be faulted for having playmakers everywhere. Right. You still have to get the ball to them. They still have to be able to execute, and they do. And they're not the same team they were when they played the Chiefs in 2020 in the Super Bowl. They're not the same team, not the same quarterback. They have some of the same pieces, and those pieces are better. Yeah. They've gotten better. Not the 4 years ago, Ayuk's not the same guy he is today.
Right.
These guys aren't the same. Kittle's not the same guy he is today. Maybe on a stats line, he was better 4 years ago, but as a player, he's probably better now because he does everything at such an elite level that if he doesn't get the ball until the third quarter or the fourth quarter, he's fine because he's going to make the play.
Right.
So they have the ability to make up for this, and I think there's a lot on Kyle Shanahan with this. They've been to the NFC Championship game 4 years in a row or something like that. Like they've been in the NFC
for
the last 5 years. So they've been right there. They lost in that Super Bowl that we saw. This rematch is going to be
I think these two teams and these two coaches have the most playoff wins since Kyle Shanahan's been a coach. So since 2017, I believe. So yeah, obviously a lot of playoff success from both teams. This is a rematch. It will be exciting. I did want to say about Brock Purdy, this whole game changer, game manager thing. I see him as a hybrid, right? Like he is a great game manager. When he's got all these weapons around him, it's smart to be a game manager. But like you said, seeing his legs, he can change the game with his legs. The legs, he can either go pick up 21 on a rush, or he can escape some pressure and find Kittle or one of his other, Debo and Ayuk, some of his other stars downfield. That's game changer stuff to me.
Absolutely.
And so I think if it's one or the other, I see him as more of a game changer.
I agree. I just think it's taking people along because nobody wants to admit that the last pick in the draft, that everybody got it wrong, it's a system. They're going to look for excuses. The guy knows how to win. He understands the system he plays, and he can make elite throws.
And I'll tell you what, there's been, this is the 8th Super Bowl appearance for the 49ers, right? They've had 5 quarterbacks. 49ers have been quarterbacks in the Super Bowl, right? He's my third favorite, after Joe Montana and Steve Young. I like him more than Jimmy. I like him more than Kaepernick. You know what I mean? Because he's that hybrid player. I will say this, though. He needs to learn how to slide. I don't think he was ever a baseball player. You know, watching he's got some wheels, but man, that guy needs to learn how to slide.
This is true. Well, and we'll get into that. Obviously, we got that. We got NBA talk on the other side because there's a lot going on with everything. You guys listen to KDUS 1060 Phoenix. Make sure to check us out. NAU football, go Lumberjacks, ASU baseball. Come back on the other side.